Good morning, everybody. Glad to be back with you this Saturday morning. My name is Ed Samuel. I'm a career coach with a firm called Sam Nova. We're based in Kennett Square, PA, and serve clients in the greater Philadelphia area and across the U.S. Well, the last 2 weeks has been anything but normal, to say the least. I was thinking about, hey, how do you optimize your career with COVID-19 virus at hand and the crisis gripping our area, the U.S. and really the world? And this week alone, I talked to so many clients and potential clients and business owners about the impact all of this has on people. And for those people who are, in job search mode, what do we do? People who are thinking about making a change and they're currently working, what do we do? People who are business owners, what do we do? And I thought this morning's program, I would really just focus in on some things about, job offers and interviewing and posted jobs and what to do next. And again, we're in this kind of issue of uncertainty, and I really want to start off with, at the high level, really the big picture level. And the big picture level is, our community, greater Philadelphia, and the nation is trying to, quote, flatten the curve, as it's being called. And that's to radically reduce the infected Americans, that rate of growth. And if we think we can do that, we won't put as much of a strain on the healthcare systems, and we got to kind of get our handle around what's going on now. And I know some, people are, going to work every day. And some people, are not working at all. Some people are working at home. So everybody's in a different place. And we're being advised in many levels to take precautions. And I think it's important that, the precautions that are being put out there affect a job search. They affect how you're engaging people or networking with people. And I just, I don't think it hurts just to run through some of these because, again, you could be asked to meet somebody in spite of the fact that we're trying to stay away from people. And, these precautions, washing your hands as often as possible for 20 seconds. And if you don't have soap and water, use an alcohol-based hand sanitizer. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth, especially if your hands are unwashed. Avoid close contact with people who are sick or acting sick, or you think they might be sick. That's a piece of this. Stay home if you're sick. It sounds so simple. But if you do cough, sneeze, whatever you're doing, put it in your elbow and then throw out the tissue in the trash. Wash your hands again. And certainly disinfect anything that you've touched. There's a host of things going on. And, contrary, to what some people are thinking, refrain from group meetings of 10 or more. And certainly don't shake anybody's hands at the moment. And again, I go through these because if you're in a job search and somebody wants to interview you and you're kind of ignoring all these things, I would probably say that it puts you in a really bad place for the people who are looking at you as a potential candidate for their firm or organization. So as much as these things might be personal, they're not personal any longer when it comes to a job search, and especially if people are being open to meeting with you or think they have to meet with you in a face-to-face setting, especially these next 6 to 8 weeks. Now, so I want to spend a little bit of time this morning talking about, what are some things that are going on, that are some positive things that I see happening. And in spite of us being in this hold or semi-hold mode, I wanted to share some thoughts with you on some things you can do. But first, here's some good news. Some good news is, even within the last 7 days, I know several people who have literally gotten job offers last week verbally. And then it was like, well, they got job offers. Now, Are we going to get the actual hard copy? And these firms came forward with a hard copy offer. And as of Monday of this week, many people are going through background checks. So the notion that, we're completely on lockdown and no one's getting a job offer, I would beg to differ, because I actually know of many that are occurring, and with a normal start date. Now, others have had their job offers accepted, background check cleared, and their start dates are being pushed out 2 to 3 weeks, but they're expected to be there, 3 weeks, from now, this coming Monday. That is playing out as well. Now, I've been asked questions about, hey, Ed, what do I need to focus on? And what firms should I be looking at? Well, some of you may have heard the word defensive industries, and defensive industries tend to be those industries at the time that we're going through now that tend to continue to have to run. And there's a likelihood they're going to need people, and they're going to continue to need people, because this is part of the train that keeps America moving forward. Now, if you're not part of the defense industry, then those are potentially industries that you want to avoid, because they're in a really hard slowdown right now. So defensive industries, let me give you some examples. It would be food production. Everybody has to eat. The chemical industry, delivery services. Amazon, they announced a few days ago they need to hire 100,000 people. So there are certain things that we have to get things delivered. That continues. Public service, much of public service, net of the libraries closing, has to continue. The communication industry, without them, we couldn't be working from home. We couldn't be doing video conferencing. We couldn't be talking on the cell phone or the radio. Healthcare, it's being strained, but they need help. They need people. The energy sector, insurance, benefits. These are all things that are in demand, and firms need these people. And if they're losing people, they have critical hires. I encourage you to kind of look at these industries and hard, and because they probably won't be slowing down as much as the other types of industries. So just some thought in terms of if you're thinking it through, if you have a choice to target the airlines right at the moment versus food production, I'd err on food production. If it's a choice between, the entertainment industry and the chemical industry, I might lean towards the chemical industry. Certainly anything to do with business continuity in a crisis like we're in. There are consulting firms that do this. There are firms that specialize in this. Another great sector to go after if you're in job search mode. Now, that leads me to another point, and it's about recalibrating your thinking a bit when you're in a job search in this kind of environment. And again, we don't know if this is going to last 4 weeks, 8 weeks. The president even made note that it could be August. So we just don't know. But the recalibration for the clients I work with, and what I'm encouraging you to do is that, everything, that you're looking to, go after, just be flexible in your thinking. Especially if you need and you have to get back to work sooner rather than later, then go to a job, go to an interview, talk to people, and be flexible in this regard. You might want a perm position and go work for a company, but they might need short-term contract help. They might need you to come in as a consultant. They might need you to put in 25 hours a week. And I would encourage you to be open to that. You could certainly start with a perm discussion and see where it goes, but also be open to contract work and push both options as you go forward. The contract work might turn into perm work, and that's the benefit. But with this future being so cloudy right now, the job marketplace, the more flexible you can be in terms of that type of thinking when you're talking to a potential employer, hiring manager, I think it just bodes well. You don't necessarily have to lead with it, but you certainly can introduce it and be open to it more so than not. Now, next point I want to make is that this may be common sense, but I'm still going to offer it up anyway. So, and because I've seen mistakes made literally in the last 10 days, 7 days, 3 days. When you're engaging firms or organizations right now in a job search, or you're meeting new people, even in a networking forum, even over the phone, be sure to acknowledge the crisis that's at hand with this virus and ask people if they're okay. See how they're doing. Because I truly believe ignoring it really will bode badly on your behalf. It will almost show a complete lack of sensitivity that will, I would say, most likely torpedo any discussion that you have. And again, I've seen people literally, and this applies to businesses, not just people in job search, where they're just kind of ignoring the whole thing and hey, what do you want to buy? Let's get, here I am, the candidate. Let's start talking about this job, and just not even bringing it up, I think is just a bad strategy. Not that you have to go on and on. It could be one sentence and it's over. But I'd encourage you to do it in writing. If you're sending someone an email, make sure it's kind of upfront in that email. If it's verbally, then make sure you're telling that person that live over the phone. And if it's a voicemail, make sure you're including it in the voicemail. Again, it talks about the sensitivity of who you are, and that you're acknowledging that, we're in a really strange time, and that, but you're trying to make the best of it. And that's why you're engaging them in conversation, because we will come out of this. And that's why you're talking to them. Okay. Now, the other thing that's happening is that a lot of interviews that are going on right now, and I would say most of them, in the last 10 days, 5 days, almost 100% this week, have all been video interviews. And I literally am working with multiple clients and have helped people who aren't even my clients on the video front in terms of how do you have to get ready for a video interview. And for some of us, we've done it before, and it becomes ho-hum at one level. But for some of you, you've never done it. And if this trend continues, going to a video interview will be far more likely than not likely that that's going to be the method that they use. And there's many tools out there. There's GoToMeeting, there's Zoom, there's free conference call, and they all have their pluses and minuses a bit, and they all have their free version, and then they have a paid version. You need to get one. Now, I encourage you that if you have a video interview, though, there's some things I would want you to do, encourage you to do. And believe me, I know these things, when you don't do these things, how they can backfire. But, if you have a video coming up and they want to use Zoom, they want to use GoToMeeting, try it out. Do a dry run. Call me up. Call your friend up. Call somebody up and actually do a real dry run. You have to make sure the sound's okay. Because if it's not, it's just horrible. Make sure the laptop screen is tilted the right direction. Make sure that you don't have things in the background that make no sense that actually distract from you being interviewed. Make sure you're in a place where there's not a lot of noise going on. You even have to know what to wear. And most recently, with several of my clients and others that I've talked to, don't go into an interview and never smile. Don't be the Grim Reaper, although this is a pretty bad time. Still smile. All these things are huge in making a great impression if you're talking to somebody via an interview, a video interview. And it can make or break whether they move you forward. And then, of course, with all these things being said, you need to do all these things well, and then you actually have to be ready for the actual interview. And you know, hey, you know, the infamous question, hey, tell me about yourself. Making sure you know how to answer that, and all the other things you have to do to make sure the interview goes well. But the precursor is making sure that you're familiar with and you've used a video conferencing in the past, and that you're prepared for it. A lot of great videos out there in terms of some training, even at those tools that I've mentioned. Now, a couple other things I want to share with you. You know, working from home is all of a sudden shifted gears. You know, some of the firms that have been entrenched with old school thinking that everyone has to come to the office and that nothing will ever get done if people work from home. Well, that's kind of been upended in a big way. And a lot of people are working from home for the very first time. Some people, maybe they've never worked at home, and you're working at home because you're quarantined. Maybe you're working at home because the company has asked everybody to work from home because they don't want to spread the virus in the workplace. Now, again, those people might be fortunate at one level, because I also know there are many people that are going to work every day. And those firms are trying to practice social distancing and cleaning and things to reduce the spread of the virus at their work. So I applaud them. And that includes, by the way, all the cashiers that are working at the grocery stores, including the one I went to this morning at 7 a.m. That was absolutely packed beyond belief. But there's some things that you have to kind of get your head around when you start working from home. And, you know, again, you have a quiet space. You run the risk, if you're not careful, to not take breaks, actually do too much work at home. And it becomes incredibly stressful. The other extreme is, you know, you're more worried about looking out the window than you are working. So we get both extremes. I actually had the pleasure of working from home for almost 2 years of my career, literally every day. And, you know, I have some scars and bruises, one of which I always remember my wife saying, hey, are you ever going to shave, Ed? And you know what? She was right. You know, you got to get up and you got to go to work. And if you're working from home, you better shave and you better be, ready to go. And with a smile on your face in a quiet room and start hustling. You know, there's an organization that I know of that really did a nice video. And this video that they produced was really geared towards employers who are sending their workers home to work and what they have to deal with and think about. But I thought this video is also not just appropriate for small business or medium-sized or large businesses to listen to, but it's also appropriate for those people who are working at home for the first time. So I'd encourage you to go to a company called Delegate Solutions, all one word, delegatesolutions.com. They're a premier virtual assistant firm, one of the fastest growing firms, actually based out of Philadelphia. An amazing person started this company, but they did a webinar most recently about, you know, how do you roll out remote work and the strategies that they have to worry about. And I'd encourage you again to go to delegatesolutions.com. And right on their webpage, you're going to get, you know, right when you pull it up, you'll see that webinar and you can click on it to get access. And I hope that access can help you. So let me hit on a couple more things. You know, make a presumption that jobs that are being posted, like firms that need to continue to hire, are posting because they really do have a need and an immediate need. And, you know, I'm not a big fan of spending your whole day applying for jobs, but if you told me that, you know, there's a job that fits, especially in those defensive industries, perhaps, if you can align to them, apply for one job a day. And for those that know me, know that that's not, you know, my biggest play in terms of what I suggest people to do, because I'm a bigger fan of going after the hidden job market, And I would say go out to the hidden job market. And if you're a member of a networking organization during this time, please use the databases that you're a member of. A great example would be Career Professionals Executive Networking Group, also known as CPENG, CPENG. I'd encourage you to take a look at that organization, and their database is amazing. They also post, jobs that are on that are unique and possibly ahead of the internet postings. And but other organizations are having virtual networking forums. Maybe even your profession. I've seen professional organizations now in the Philly area shift to virtual meetings that they're having. So make sure that you participate in these meetings, because these particular meetings are great learning grounds for you to learn how to log in and how to actually participate in a video conference. So it's all an opportunity. One other point I wanted to make was use this time. If you have a lull in the action and you find yourself a little bit in that mode of just, hey, what do I do? I encourage you to sharpen up on skills. I have one client who's taking, an advanced Excel class. I have another client taking a class on collaborative software tools. And even if it's just for a couple of hours, every couple of days, sharpen up on those skills during this time of uncertainty, because when the everything kicks back in again, those are all things that are going to matter. And of course, one of the things that I'm a big fan on is that if you're at this point and you're not sure what to do with your life going forward, your career going forward, great time to take a career assessment and go through a consultation with a consultant. We certainly offer that at our firm. And I just finished a consultation with someone on video, and it worked out incredibly well. And that person's moving forward with their next steps. So again, it doesn't have to be face to face. And I've done many of these around the country. And we actually have a team of 20-some people that would love to work with you if you want to use this time, whether it be 3 weeks, 8 weeks, 6 weeks, to kind of hone in on who you are and does it make sense? Does what you're going to do next make sense or not? We can help you answer that question. And the last point I really wanted to hit on this morning is use this time to sharpen up your resume. Again, if you find yourself in a kind of a slowdown mode of any sort, get the resume refreshed. Most of you who have heard me speak before know that I published a book late last year. It's called Optimize Your Career, Do's and Don'ts of Resumes, the Sam Nova Way. It's available on Amazon in paperback and Kindle. I now have close to 225 positive comments of people who have purchased the book and actually started applying those principles. And now I have many, many success stories of people not only buying the book, applying the principles, but actually landing jobs because of it. So a great opportunity for you to sharpen your resume. And again, if not with me, then do it yourself or do it with someone else. So we're about ready to wrap up today, this morning. I hope I've given you a little bit of encouragement, some focus on things to do, maybe some additional ideas, maybe reinforce some things you're already doing, but wanted to touch base that this virus will pass and we'll get to another stage of work. And yet, at the same token, there are companies that are hiring. And I gave you examples of that earlier this morning. So with that, join me again on the next Optimize Your Career program on Saturday, April 4th. We'll be highlighting another person in our Career Spotlight series about what they've done and the changes that they've made in their career that's made all the difference. This is Ed Samuel, career coach with Sam Nova. Our website is www.samnovainc.com. If you'd like to reach me with a question or comment, send me an email at esamuel, E-S-A-M-U-E-L, at samnovainc.com, or call our main number at 610-274-8214. Make it a great weekend. Please be safe, and God bless.